Democrats are banking on catching wealthy. Tax cheats as one of the main ways to pay for President Biden's lofty economic agenda. Robert Frank is here with the details and whether it's going to be possible. Robert?
Yeah, Kelly, this is actually the largest source of revenue in that new tax framework. It's a line item called IRS Investments to Close the Tax Gap, estimated to raise $400 billion over 10 years. Now, the plan calls for Congress to invest $80 billion in the IRS to crack down on wealthy tax evaders. Audit rates for millionaire earners have fallen by over half over the past decade. That's as the IRS has lost over 17,000 enforcement staff. Now, the new proposal calls for hiring back thousands of those auditors and improving the agency's technology systems to better detect non-payment. The White House says all the audit growth will be on the wealthy, or those making more than $400,000 a year, mainly on pass-throughs and private companies. The big unknown here is whether they can actually reach that $400 billion target. Estimates of the tax gap are all over the map. The latest official estimate from the IRS is at $380 billion a year. Treasury says it could be $600 billion. IRS Chief Charles Rettig recently said it could be $1 trillion. It's also unclear how much of that gap is from the wealthy. Treasury said it's only about a quarter of the total. And you have accountants and tax lawyers saying much of what the IRS may consider evasion is actually legal avoidance using all the creative loopholes in, Kelly, what you and I know is a very complex tax code. So in the end, it may not raise as much as they expect. Let's
go back to what you said a second ago. So the premise of this is they want to catch wealthy tax cheats, but by their own estimates from the IRS, 75% of the evasion is coming from people who aren't wealthy.
That's right. And that's part of the issue. And then part of the issue, they don't even know what that broad pie looks like, even if the wealthy are only about a quarter of it. So again, their estimates it's at 380, their estimates at $1 trillion. And by nature, you don't know how much is evaded until you hire all those agents and find out. So this is just a giant guess. And again, it is the largest revenue source in this new plan. So it's important.
I think also what I'm trying to say is it's sold as going after the wealthy, but in reality that they're just a small piece of it and they might be able to get around it. So it really means they're coming after you.
Right. And again, we don't know that quarter estimate is really just an estimate based on a certain slice of audits they did. And they may end up raising a lot more from the wealthy, and that share of the total pie could be larger. You just don't know. I mean, by nature, you know that the biggest dollar numbers will come from auditing the wealthy because those are the folks that make the most and avoid the most.
Absolutely. Well said. Robert, we always appreciate it. Thank you, Robert Frank, digging through the pay-fors of these bills.